Hey guys, welcome back to Financial Markets. Hope you're all doing well. So today I'm going to talk about one of the most heated discussions on Wall Street. Um, the Something that's always talked about on CNBC with Jim Cramer as well, and something I think is a bit of an infamous now character, Elon Musk, and his company Tesla. And I thought, there's always been a big debate around whether or not Tesla will be something that goes bankrupt or reaches, say, $1 trillion, which is something that Ron Barron, who's a famous Wall Street, mutual fund veteran, who's obviously worth billions of dollars, and he believes that, you know, Tesla will become $1 trillion company. And I thought it'd be a good idea to share a few of my thoughts on Tesla and where Tesla's future is heading. So recently, I did a video as well that I'll leave in the top right about the recent, drop in share price for Tesla, and the main reason was because of the fact that they reported that they would need to raise more money, so they would either do it through the equity market or through the debt market. And so now it's decided that they're going to do a bit of both. And so the markets have sort of been relieved that, okay, he's made his decision of what he's going to do to raise more capital, because clearly they're reaching and hungry for money. Now, just to sort of do a bit of an anecdote on his story and with other people and other entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, if we look at Elon Musk and say we look at Amazon's founder Jeff Bezos, back when Jeff started Amazon, he didn't turn a profit in for years. And it's not that he chose not to, he still could have. But what these companies are good at, what they specialize is they don't care about the bottom line. Because what their thesis is keep building the top line, bottom line will follow. And eventually it will, because right now, especially when you look at the income statements, I always tend to ignore or add to the profits the net loss, the capex expenditure. And that's always important because that will tell you what the company actually makes, but what they're showing on the income statement, because they're taking that money out to reinvest back into the company, which is obviously a plus. But clearly people just choose to ignore that and say, okay, look, it's a net loss. Anyway, so linking back to Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk's story, and Steve Jobs as well, to be honest, everybody doubted them when they were creating something, and because they were doing something that was apparently going to change the world, which it did, with Apple with their phones, that everyone's going to start using smartphone, with Elon Musk with his cars, that people think, okay, people can make electric cars, what's the speciality? But it's the same thing then. A lot of people back then, when Apple released their iPhones, there were other people that were releasing smartphones, but nobody really ever thought about those or cared about those until now, and people think, oh, it's $1 trillion, how did it become? It went through its fair shares of struggles. So anyway, so the point being is, when you invest in Tesla, you cannot just do like a DCF model, which everyone does in the industry, and then say, you know what, this is crazy, the stock is going to tank, it's a rubbish valuation, let's not buy it. And it's obviously a $50 billion company at the moment. Now, so again, they're not pricing an Elon Musk into their model, whereas you should. And how do you price him into your model? Well, it's difficult, but you focus onto the man, on the visionary outcome that he's trying to do. He is trying to do something with the car's electric vehicle market, which nobody else is doing at that pace. If you think about it, everyone was been talking about electric vehicles, but nobody actually, went in and quickly produced them and actually got them to a level he has in such short space of time. Now you see Mercedes, GM, all starting to do it and release theirs, but that's because they got pushed by Tesla. They were just taking their time. And now, and it's not that he's just doing the electric vehicle market. He's creating a new user experience in terms of literally cars being like the person that sits behind the vehicle is like being a pilot. And one, he's creating that sort of atmosphere interface within in the cockpit, if you will, of the front of the car. So that's another thing he's doing. He's doing electric vehicles, yes. The battery side of the company is huge money-making business. He will probably become like the LG of, like the TVs, what LG does, where they supply their screens to like, different, all these Sonys and stuff like that, the LED screens that they provide. All LG does that, by the way, just in case you didn't know. And so they will have that revenue stream too. And it's also that he's not stopping there. I mean, he doesn't talk about it, but he's going to get to a point where he'll probably revolutionize Tesla to a point where he can turn them into, cars eventually become flying cars. And right now it seems fiction, but it's always fiction until it becomes a reality. It's just a saying, right, that we hear, that everything is fiction until it becomes a reality, because eventually it will become a reality. So, point being is the entrepreneur himself, you definitely can give that bit credibility. So if a small portion of your portfolio you can invest in Tesla today, it will definitely be a really good bet, because you're betting on the future. So if it works, it's a huge return. You could be looking at a 10x return. And if it doesn't work, what the heck? You put a small portion of your portfolio in the position. It didn't work. It didn't work. You lost the money. But think about it. When Tesla's not going bust tomorrow. If they go bust in say 3 years' time, by that time, hopefully you've accumulated more wealth through both your work and through your investments. That the proportion of what you've invested into Tesla will keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And so in that case, it's worth saying, I'm definitely someone who doesn't go in for punts or gambles in the market. But companies like these that come around once in a lifetime, there's always a chance, or always worth to put in a small bit of a punt. Basically, because you're backing the entrepreneur and also the idea, the visionary side that he has to it. And also, the fundamentals actually do support his ideology, in the sense that Tesla now in the US, I think in the sedan market, is one of the most purchased cars. And think about it, this is a car company that came in after Mercedes being around for a long time, Volkswagen being around, General Motors being around, and it just makes you think, wow, if he can come in and drastically take over a big portion of the market, imagine what he can do when he actually gets it fully functional and it's a full-on cockpit experience all over the world. It will just be crazy. And so, your risk reward, in my opinion, is huge. It's a volatile name, hence why you put a really small portion of your portfolio in, and you just leave it there. Don't even look at the position, I say, for a good 5-10 years and see where it is in 5-10 years' time. If you look at the yearly charts, there's been hardly any growth. Even in the 5-year chart, it hasn't been much, because they've had a big tank recently, which is why I've ended up buying some of the stock, because I think it's just a good time to top up a little bit, and to see where we could go in say another 5 years time. Because if you look now, in 2013 it was 70 in $30 and then it got to 300 in about 5 years time, 6 years time. So that's a 10x return in 5 years. So it's definitely worth a little bit of a punt if you could spare that. And yeah, think about the points that I raised. Tell me what's your for and against. I think this will be a really good discussion to have. Leave comments in the description. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.